Well, let's talk about auto cable demand. What is exactly the growth prospects of a year? The sales definitely have shown quite a bit of a rebound, but it's not just about the COVID disruption and the rebound from there. We also want to understand the LED segment demand. I mean, that's largely been untapped. The EV push as well. What could be the impact of that on the auto cable sector? So let's bring on board the company that reigns supreme in this sector, that's Suprajit Engineering. Ajith Kumar, the CMD of the company, joins us now. Thank you so much, Mr. Rai, for joining in. So let's start off first with the fact that auto cable sales are back to sort of pre-COVID levels. I think a sustainable momentum as well, can be seen on the road ahead. So what strategy are you adopting, and are you sure of this recovery, this growth sort of sustaining?
No, Mubin, and thank you for having me on your channel. At this moment, the growth seems to be pretty strong. In fact, July and August months have been fantastic for us. Between the first 2 months of August and July, both our domestic cable division, domestic lamps division, as well as our export of cables have hit a record highs. So it has been an excellent 2 months of the second quarter. There has been a clear rebound in the marketplace. I think there are two issues here. One is largely because of the vacuum in the distribution channel. I think all the automakers, both two-wheelers and four-wheelers, have been pushing more and more into the supply, into the distribution channel. So that has given a strong August numbers. And secondly, I think there has been also pent-up demand in the marketplace, which has helped the retail sales also to grow. So both have been positive, but I must also caution you that the August sales, which is seen in the manufacturer side, is actually comparing itself to last year's very weak August 19. So it is a growth, but last year August was a low base. So having said that, I think Suprajit had an excellent 2 months, and we continue to see that in the month of September as well.
So when we just talk about exports, how things are moving over there, some exports benefits were also there, which I think are now being withdrawn. Can you just tell us, what essentially export side of the market is doing?
Yeah, for us, exports are in 2-3 ways. One is the export of halogen lamps, then exports of cables, in essence, both automotive and non-automotive. On the automotive side, I think we have won some excellent new contracts in the last 2 years, which are all now getting startup of production. But due to COVID, I think the volumes of certain of these projects have come down. And also some of these customers have postponed the launch date. So we are supposed to have had something like a 30-40% growth at this time of the year, but that is not happening. We are just about growing compared to last year. So there has been a positive growth for us compared to last year on the automotive cable side. On the lamp side also, I think both domestic and aftermarket business have been very strong. So that has helped us as well. These export incentives, it's a small part of our business in terms of what I would say margin accretion. But due to higher volume of business, I think we will not have big impact of this withdrawal of MEIS scheme, which I think you are talking about. Overall, I think we still will have a robust exports, and the margins will not really be impacted.
You could just give give us a sense of, see, the auto companies, two-wheeler companies have shown good numbers, whether you talk about Hero, TVS, Bajaj, the numbers are looking in decent. How do you essentially see things, going on? I mean, what is the difference between the demand when they see and when the demand comes to a company like you? What is the sense that you get? What time lag after that the auto ancillary industry will see a pickup?
I think we work very closely with the automobile manufacturers, whether it's two-wheelers or four-wheelers. So it is actually very instant. If let us say one of our customers are producing 100,000 vehicles, there is immediately 100,000 sets of cables required, or 100,000 sets of lamps are required. So the transmission to supply chain is pretty much immediate. But the manufacturers are currently now filling up their distribution line. And there seems to have been a robust pull for them. So We have seen an excellent August, and we just are receiving schedules for the month of September, and it looks extremely robust for the month of September as well. I think again you must realize that the festival season is on, and everybody wants to have the supply distribution channel filled up with the vehicles. So I think that's what is happening, and hopefully in the grassroots level, at the distributors level, the sales are also impacting quite well. In fact, what I've heard from the marketplace is that there is even a waiting period for some of the vehicles, particularly in the two-wheeler side. So that is because there is no, stocks available. So I think it's a very good position to be in. But is this a V-type recovery which will continue like this? Is something, it's anybody's guess. We need to see through this festival season. I think for the next 2-3 months, I expect the demand to be robust. But come November onwards, we need to see whether the post-festival demand sustains at the level we are seeing currently. So that's $1 million question. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Okay. Mr. Rai, I want to understand two new segments. One is the LED segment and the second is electric vehicle market. So let's first talk about the LED segment. Do you think that there is potential for growth over there, that, it's an untapped market?
Just to clarify, we are not really in the LED segment. We are in the halogen lamps division. So our halogen lamps goes to the headlamps of the vehicles, whether it's two-wheeler or four-wheeler. And, there has been some, inroads by LED headlamps. But overall that's very small at this moment. 10 to 15% of Indian markets are now in the OEM headlamp segment is in the LED lamps. We have, of course, our own LED product for the aftermarket, which is now just been launched. I think it's a long process to establish a new brand. So I think that's what we are working on at the moment. But on the halogen lamps, I think we have an excellent push, not only from the Indian OEMs, but also both domestic and international aftermarket. I think that's where we are seeing a lot of traction. And in fact, halogen division of ours has done exceptionally well in July and August, clocking record sales.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about the electric vehicle market then. We are seeing a lot of brand addition over there. Do you think that there would be any substantial impact or anything on the number of cables in four-wheelers?
Not really. In fact, what's happening in an EV, to put in a simplistic term, the current IC engine and related connectivities just gets taken off, and an EV pack, the battery pack gets loaded in. We didn't have any cables in the original IC engine and related connectivities. So whether that gets replaced with EV or anything else, it doesn't really matter to us. So as far as we are concerned, the four-wheeler, there is absolutely no impact to us in terms of the change of this technology going forward. We see the same level of consumption of cables. We have anywhere from 10 to 15 to 16 cables in a car. We expect that to continue going forward, whether it's an EV or otherwise.
You've been one of the companies that have steadily grown, and if you would just plot any chart of any company in the industry, first they would want to grow domestically, then go global, which you went, then go to a North American market as you went after some of the other markets, then probably also make the acquisition, which you have done in consolidation the sector. Where does the next leg of growth come from? What are the new opportunities for the company?
I think, if you look at broadly our two product lines, we've got multiple products, but I'll talk about the two larger product lines of ours. One is on the cable side. I think the global market for automobile cable is phenomenal. Yes, we have done some acquisitions in this space. I think the opportunities, thanks to COVID and those who have higher debt levels or cash flow issues, will have difficulty to survive in this market. So as you know, we are a very strong balance sheet. We have cash on our balance sheet. So, we'll continue to look at least opportunities for increasing our business through organic route. And there will be always opportunities, as and when it comes. We don't have anything on the table today, but I think these opportunities next 1 year will be there for getting certain good assets at a very reasonable price. And added to that, I think our existing customers are very happy with what we are doing with them. So we are continuing to get newer businesses from the existing customers. That's on the cable side. On the halogen lamp side, I think the strategy we have adopted is that we should, strategize our position as a global major in the replacement market. So globally, there is a large requirement of halogen lamps, and we are now, orienting our efforts to make sure that we are in that space in a significant way. At the same time, the other strategy we are adopting is how we can associate ourselves with the world number 1 and 2. The Lumileds and the Osrams of the world are the larger players than us. So we have struck a deal with them. As you know, we have acquired the Osram's assets in India. And we also struck a deal with them to supply to them globally, worldwide, not just in India. So that is also another excellent way of strategizing ourselves in a highly competitive market. So we are, because of our competitive edge in manufacturing, we are able to produce products at a price which very few are able to match. So that gives us an edge to get into the larger game of global competition and win those, competition and get some new businesses. So we are quite confident that both our cable division and halogen lamps division, despite the COVID scenario that we are in, will do pretty well. The first quarter has been a bad quarter, but starting July, I think we are more or less back to normal.
Great. That's great to hear. Just, question on costs, by the way. How are you managing your, your cash conversion cycle and other fixed costs?
Of course, due to the COVID scenario, there has been certain, impact because certain fixed costs had to be incurred despite sales being down. But I think that was a 1 quarter issue for us. I think from second quarter onwards, of course, we have done quite a few cost cutting measures significantly in the shop floor in terms of increasing productivity, reducing the costs, reducing the scrap, etc., etc. At the same time, we also had done some tightening of the belt in terms of certain, reduction in white collar positions within the company, not just in India, across the world. And also there has been certain rollback in salaries over the last few months, which is now been, I think, we are reinstating those rollbacks, those cuts back to the normalcy because the business has come back to normal. So we have done quite a few efforts internally and the team has done an excellent job. And that's why, we see that we will not have a significant margin impact from the Q2 onwards. So we expect to have a decent, performance going forward.
Okay, great. Well, Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now and,
thank you for
explaining to us what exactly is the impact, how can we see the sales as well of auto cables trend going forward. On that note, we will take a very short break right here on the show. Don't go anywhere.